All right, buckle up. I just finished my music video for my new song Sunrise, and it's freaking sweet, and I went so hard, and I want to basically share the behind the scenes of it. So I just want to show how I made it, basically. I want to show like the tools I use, the workflows, talk about the song and the shots and kind of why they are the way they are, how I made them, and just kind of show off my skills and creative genius, because maybe people don't know that I just made this whole thing, 95% by myself. The only person that helped me was my little brother. Filmed me sometimes in Bali, but I shot the whole thing on my iPhone, edited the whole thing on my Mac here on After Effects mostly. But yeah, I'm gonna just go through everything, so it's gonna be a little dense and nerdy, but hopefully cool. There will be chapter markers, so if you've come here from watching the video and you want to just see a breakdown of like a specific scene, there will be chapter markers below and everything, as well as the link to the video if you just want to watch it, and probably other things as I go through. So that's the plan here. Basically, when I was in Bali, I spent 6 weeks in Bali at a beachfront villa with a pool, very nice, and it was such a vibe. And I would get up like at 5 a.m. every day to watch the sunrise. And sometimes I would swim out in the ocean to the little raft that floated out there. And I would just watch the sunrise. And I would make music in the morning, like with the sunrise. And I made this song called Sunrise.
Look at the sunrise. Look at the clouds.
And I made a ton of songs, but that was kind of one of the cool ones, one of my favorite ones that I made. And it was so interesting because it wasn't really on purpose that I made it this way, but it hit the nail on the head of an experience I was having the entire time, which was there was so much like natural beauty, and it was so nice. Like I was just chilling for weeks at the pool, beachfront in Bali, just a banger. And it was so hard to like sink into the moment and fully enjoy the moments. Like I would be looking at the sunrise and the birds and the water, and it's calm and quiet and so nice, and I'd be like, wow, I wish I could just enjoy this more. I wish I could just sink it. I wish I could just take this in more. Like I want to take a picture of it so I can save it because it's going to go away. And I just it wasn't horrible, but I just had this experience of wishing I could really sink into the moment and fully enjoy what was in front of me, because I dreamed of going on this trip and traveling and doing all this for so long. And I had everything I wanted, but I just had trouble fully enjoying it. And so this song kind of encapsulates that experience as a whole. It kind of, showcases the animals and the wildlife, and just it's like a trippy, interesting take on all of it. So let's just watch the video real quick, and then I'll take you through it. And I'll start with the tools and stuff, but here we go.
Yeah, it's nice, but it wasn't enough, he said. Yeah, it's nice, but it just wasn't enough in his head. Fear of the past in my 20s, going 6'5", lying in my king size, wide-eyed, think I'm going nowhere fast. No, yeah. Line of sight, shooting past the good times. I forgot about the moment and I waste time thinking that this won't last. Oh, look at the sunrise, look at the clouds. If the night sky wasn't enough, but how about now? Just look at the ocean waves, look at the trees. Remember the way you feel when you're with me. Sometimes it can take a bright light, trying to get my mind right. Remembering the times like summer when I wasn't hollow, when it wasn't so hard to see the path I should follow. In the way the sky would open up and burn the night out of mind. Wake up. Look at the sunrise, look at the trees. Yeah, if you need somebody to love, well, how about me? Oh, how about me? How about it? Just look up and look at the sunrise. Look at
Okay, got him. So that's the video. Next, what I'll show you is how it started, basically. So when I was in Bali, I was just filming stuff. I filmed this whole thing with my iPhone, and I was filming stuff for my vlog. Like, I was just filming stuff that was beautiful. I was filming the sunrises a bunch because they were so pretty, and just different things. And I film it on like ProRes S-Log mode. So I just had all this footage, and then after I made the song, I was just like, the idea just kind of struck me for a video, and I was like, oh, I could just make a music video for this song out of all this footage here. So I'm a big Notion user, so I'll show you here. I made a Notion page for the video and just kind of outlined what I wanted to do. I didn't follow through with it completely, but this is just how it started. So I just started with this overview, and I said, this will be a music/lyric video based on my footage from Bali, clouds, and just beautiful footage in general. I want to convey a sense of peace, beauty, and scale, and time dilation. There will be little to no performance, and I will incorporate tasteful uses of AI and stock footage. At the end of the day, I did use some AI, which I'll get into that, and I did use some stock footage, but not a ton, and I decided against lyrics, so I ended up not putting in any lyrics. And then I wrote out some of these workflows that I would maybe do, which was like Mid-Journey, AI photos, put it in Runway to animate it, and then upscale it, which I never did that. I didn't use Runway at all, I think, but I did use Photoshop AI to expand the backgrounds, which I'll show you how that works, and a bunch of creative masking. I did that for sure. So these are all my notes on the video. So I would basically work on it, watch it, make notes, work on it, watch it, make notes as I go. That's kind of my process. And then I have all these ideas, which unfortunately a lot of the ones I crossed off, I deleted as I was going, but I would basically just write down ideas I would see in my head and different things that could be cool. I would watch through my video bank of videos I had and then be like, oh, I could do this or I could do that, write all the ideas, and then I would just read through when I would go to work on it. I would read through the list, whatever the coolest one that stuck out to me is, I just make that, and then I would move on. But I probably made about 15% of the video, like the core of it in Bali, and then I just focused on filming the rest of the time, and I actually finished the video here in Bangkok where I am now. And like I said, it's not the song isn't done and everything, but I wanted to make this like while the video is fresh in my mind, because my process is bananas. So which we'll get to in a second. So like I said, I did use some AI. I'll show you how and what I did. I know there's like ethics issues around AI, but my priority is like making what I see in my head come to reality, and I kind of just do that by whatever means necessary. And I care about the craft too, so I don't want to just throw AI in there and just use AI straight out the gate like as the finished thing. It just doesn't feel good to me, so I just don't do it. But real quick, I'll walk through the programs I use, the main programs. Okay, main thing I'm using here is Video Copilot for all the 3D stuff. So it's a plugin called Element 3D, which we'll get into, but I don't think anyone uses this anymore. It's super old, but I learned it a while ago and it just works for me. So I just still use it. And I think 3D artists would probably laugh at me because most people are using like Cinema 4D or Blender or different things like that, but this just works for me. So it's what I use. And then I use effects wise, I use Red Giant, and there's like a million plugins and effects and things, and I barely scratched the surface of using what they have. A bunch of the effects I use are from this. And then I also use Keyshot, which I didn't pull up here, but this is like for product rendering, 3D product rendering, but I just use it for certain shots. It's way more photorealistic, and it just does a bunch of stuff that Element can't, so I use that as well. And then as far as sites and stuff, I'm using CG Trader, a 3D modeling website. So they have a bunch of free models, or you can buy models. And so I do that. And then Turbo Squid, same thing, 3D model shop. I use that a bunch. And then Sketchfab. So you'll notice there's that like whale in the music video, which we'll get into. But for example, this is where I got it. I got it right here, blue whale. So it's already animated, right? So I basically can just download this and then throw it in my program. I changed the texture and everything, but that's kind of what I do. And then I can get backgrounds and HDRIs from Polyhaven, which I got some sunrise ones from here. And then I use the shit out of this Site Motion Array, which I also have a subscription. And they just have a million assets, whether it's video or just like a lot of the birds in the video are from like a green screen bird asset, or like I can just get like water textures and like all kinds of different assets, video and motion assets from this, and I'll just call those out as we go through. And then last but most certainly not least is Midjourney, and I use this for backgrounds and I use this for references and stuff. This is an AI art, and when I started the video and I had the idea, I went on here and I literally just scroll down this front page, right, which is like the top popular ones that get generated, and I just pick ones that I love and then I use it for a reference. If you just look on here, like people say, oh, AI art slop and it's not that cool and blah blah blah, but like I could scroll on this front page forever, dude. It's like some of these are generic and lame, but like some of these are so cool and the ideas are just cool. I'm like, wow, look at this, what's going on here? Like so many cool ideas, whether it's just a color palette, a photo, like a image style, framing, the content, like there's just a million things that you can take inspiration from and reference from. And every time I scroll on here, I get so much inspiration, right? Like these are such cool ideas. I was scrolling on this earlier and there was this one which I was like, oh, I'm gonna totally use that for something in the future, because it just really got my mind going. Yeah, some of these are just so cool and so beautiful. Look at this. So like I would take this, I'd be like, okay, what if I made a big glowing butterfly and did a shot like this, it's like lit like this and has this style? That'd be really cool. So real quick, I'll go here and I'll show you my folder. So before I started the video, or as I was starting it, these are the photos that I downloaded as references, and some of them I used, some of them I didn't. Some of them had a huge impact, some basically didn't, but we'll just look through. So we got this one I used a lot. You'll notice the eye covers in the video, I use this a lot. This idea, I love it. This is pretty cool. This is like, you know, a sun vibe, and like the silhouette I think is cool. That's just a crazy vibe, nature. I was gonna use this kind of thing for the curtains, but I never did. Cool color scheme with the clouds. Turtle with the cool shell texture, totally use that, but in my own way. When we look at the shot, you'll see. But same thing here. I love that like tile look on things. I'd be doing that. I use this inspiration heavily throughout the video. I love the way, like, I love the noise, and then the way this is so soft. Like, see right here, you can't see the edge of his body. It's like blended in to the canvas, right? It's like so soft and nice, and the glow is so cool. So I really like that image. That's a cool image. Pretty. That's so dope. Beautiful. You'll see another shot that it doesn't look, it's different than this, but it's a similar framing and like flowers. This, I took reference from this. And then yeah, these like painted art styles I think are cool. So those were my references that just kind of got the juices flowing for me. I'll be honest, like once I started the video, I didn't even look back at these. The ones that really, maybe one or two I did, but the ones that really stuck with me were just in my head. So like I could just remember what I saw and remember the general vibe of it, and then that was just inspiring me. So the ones that really stuck with me just really stuck with me. So okay, let's jump into the project, baby. Hold on to your britches. So I'm in After Effects. Here we go. Yeah, I cut the whole video in After Effects, which maybe is a crazy way to work. Most people would cut in Premiere, but I'm basically making a composition. I'll just make a new composition over here, make a shot from my idea list, and then just slot it in basically a linear order. And that allows me to kind of blend and do transitions right in After Effects using After Effects plugins and tools and stuff. So the whole video like is just literally this like linear thing of After Effects compositions stacked on each other, which I think is kind of weird. My whole process is weird, but I also did the whole thing in 1080p and just put a cinema crop. Literally, it's like a video file or a photo of just these crop lines to make it cinema. And then on the final export, I'm just going to run through TensorPix, which I forgot to mention, it's a AI upscaling thing. So I'm just going to upscale the whole video to 4K using TensorPix, and it can kind of clean it up and whatever. And then I'll have a 4K video, which saves me so much time in rendering, because if you're rendering in 4K, it takes literally twice as long than if you did it in 1080p. So I ended up saving so much time by just doing the whole thing in 1080p and upscaling it. And TensorPix, which we'll show you here. Of the AI upscaling things, this is my favorite one, because you can kind of just pay as you go, and you can do video, you can do photo enhance or video enhance, and it'll clean up the grain out of videos and do a bunch of other stuff. So that's a banger. So yeah, I'm in 1080p, and I'm just gonna at this point just go kind of shot through shot, and I'm gonna talk about the shots and what I did. So we're opening with this sunrise shoot, which I actually did later into the trip. My little brother shot it for me, and it's so funny because I was bummed, because I was hoping for a sunrise that like had the clouds and like a standard sunrise with the pretty colors on the clouds and everything. But it ended up just being overcast, and I was like, whatever. We didn't have that much time left, so I just went for it. And I was disappointed in how it looked. I'm like, it's all foggy and weird. And now looking back, it's like the craziest looking atmosphere, and it's so like moody and cool, and like I love it, and it worked out perfectly. And it just goes to show you my like dissatisfaction, which is like what the video is basically about. But it ended up really working out and being this cool eerie glow. And the only effects I got going on here are this Trapcode Shine, which is one of those Red Giant plugins, which I use a ton. You'll notice there's just plugins I use again and again and again. These effects. That's like it's kind of a theme in my style. So it's just it's like this. It's called Shine, but here if I elongate these rays, you might be able to see it. It's really subtle on this shot, but it basically creates these rays that shoot off of things to give the illusion of like volumetric light, right? So you can kind of see these rays. So I have that on there, very simple. And then I just have like a little color grade going on. So that's really all that's going on here. Very simple little cut of me floating around in the water. And then we're gonna transition to this next shot, which is this stained glass. So this was actually an asset. I'll show you the workflow for this. I generated this from Midjourney. So here we go. This is the only one. So I generated this on Midjourney, actually based on my pictures of the sunrise, which I uploaded to Midjourney, and then I got a stained glass that I like out of Midjourney. So this came out of Midjourney. Then I put this into Keyshot, which is, if I open that project, or if I open that program, it'll crash the project. But I put it into Keyshot and then made an animation with a transparent background. So if you look here, we go to my exports, we go to stained glass frames. Okay, so it looks like this, and it just has a transparent background, and it's just a million frames, right? So when I put these frames into After Effects, it plays like a video. So here, we'll hop into this composition and I'll show you. So we'll just break this down from the beginning. So the background here is from Motion Array, stock footage of going through the clouds. So this is just a stock footage background, which I started with. Then I add on this stained glass. So you'll notice it's transparent. So yeah, there's just this stained glass animation. We'll play it through. You should be able to watch this. So here's the little effect, and boop, it just turns and goes, and then when it does that, it shatters. But the thing is, with the shattering effects, it's so heavy on the computer, I can't play it back for you, but you can see here in this rendered version, so it shatters. Yeah, but that's a lot of effects, and that's just a CC shatter, or a shatter effect that's on After Effects, and a motion blur, and that's really all that's happening there. But here, we'll go back. So okay, we got the clouds, we got this input, and then this is from Motion Array too. It's just a bunch of butterflies flying around with a transparent background as well, and they just fluttering around. And where the magic happens for me is this effect. Okay, so wait, I got a little smoke over the top, which you probably can't tell. It's just a little extra smoke over the top, a little fog. This shine effect, here we're back, and this is effect I use again, but you can see these rays that come off of the of everything that just creates like this 3D environment. Like look at the difference of that, right? And colors, and it just shines through the butterflies, so it makes it seem like there's all this volumetric fog and just really ties everything together. So that I use that effect again and again. And then I have a chromatic aberration effect, which is subtle, but it also ties everything together and creates just it pulls the colors apart a little bit. And then there's like a little bit of lens effects. So you can see, I use these literally all the time, but if I mask this, yeah, so okay, these are the mask effects. And you'll just see this like dirtiness. There's just like smudges, right? All around on the outside here. Watch if I take it off. None. Watch this. Zoop. Gone. And back on. Right? So it just basically, I make it really subtle, but it basically just ties everything together, makes it look like it's filmed with a camera, right? Because there's something on the lens and there's like lens distortions and everything. So I do that with basically every shot, especially with 3D shots. I'm like, it just makes it seem like it's filmed through a camera. And then I have this dehancer plugin, which is a film plugin, which kind of compresses everything a bit, adds some noise and grain and like a little glow and just like film effects that make it look more real. So, you know, without all these effects, this is what you have. So you get something like this, right? Which it just looks flat and fake. And then you put on some smoke over the top, you put on this shine, you put on the dehancer thing, and then here's the final, right? And it just looks way better. So I be using those effects like crazy. And you know, it's interesting because it's like, if you think about the meaning, it's like the sunrise shatters and goes away because it's like always slipping out of my fingers when I try to enjoy it. Okay, so next we have a transition. Okay, and also one thing, oh, this is really cool. So during this scene, you'll notice it kind of breathes in and out of this effect that makes it look like it's painted. This effect. So this is really cool. This is an effect by this guy called Creation Effects. He makes this plugin. You input your footage and then you can basically pick from like 50 different art styles to make your footage look like. So I really like the watercolor one and the pastel one. So I ran the whole video through this, right? And it just makes it look like watercolor and like paint. And I was going to incorporate this way more, but I just couldn't do it in a way that wasn't like insanely distracting and I felt like just took away from the video. So I just used it in this one part. But it's really fun, and I think I'm going to use it in the future a bunch because it's such cool effect. Anyways, yeah, so I got that going on during this butterfly sequence with the stained glass. Next sequence, Buddha eyes. So this was actually a statue in the bathroom, right? There was this big Buddha fountain that I filmed. And then this is where I'll use those eyes from the AI reference I was telling you about. So if we go here and we go to the references, this, right? So I literally photoshopped, I cut these eyes out and I put them into After Effects. And then I put them on this Buddha. So let's hop in here and look. So they basically flutter to turn on. Boop, and here we go. He's got them. So let's just break this down. Buddha this is the bottom layer. And then we got, here's the eyes, and they got a blur on them, they got glow, and they got a drop shadow. So here's with nothing, here's just by itself. So we go drop shadow, we go glow, we go blur, and we go another blur. Yeah, so that's basically what that is. And then I kind of animate them to glow, and I had to kind of track them because the footage was moving, but it's not that interesting. But then we got another adjustment layer on top, which is lens flare, and then another one. And this lens flare I use all the time. It's a motion array, or not a motion array, one of these Red Giant plugins where it's automatic light flares and it just looks at the brightest point and creates a lens flare. So adds tons of cool detail. Chromatic aberration again, my lens effects, you could see the warping that happens. And then I think this is dehancer, or no, this is another glow that I added on top to just make it pop even more. So that's that shot. And then it does this cool thing where it kind of reveals through the eyes to the next shot. So you'll see right here. I'm thinking that this won't last. So yeah, now it starts to reveal to the this won't last. And then this is just a shot I did on my iPhone. And there's really no effects happening here besides at the end. There's like a little lens flare when the bird hits the corner. It's like a sunrise. That's all it is. And that's just an iPhone shot, baby. Just pretty clouds. Okay, now let's look at this. This is me. This is like one of the ish performance shots. I wish I would have played the song, but I was just basically doodling on the guitar and took a video of myself. But so if you look closely, I'm not even really singing the song, just playing something random. But what I do is I basically take this. There's this cool like energy blast that like goes poof. Yeah, that. So what that is literally this asset from Motion Array, which is like a shockwave. So I take that and I basically use this effect, which is displacement. So this displacement effect just looks at the shockwave and then it just basically makes a blur based on the shockwave. So, and then you can just, you know, adjust how the blur looks or how much blur there is, right? So I made it pretty subtle, but that's all that is. This I expanded with AI, but I'll get into that later because I did it a bunch more, so I'll break those down when I get to that. Let's go to the next shot here, which is the eye covers on me, which I don't like this one as much. I don't like this one as much, but I'll break down the next one that I do like and show you how I did it, but it's the same thing. But you'll notice this design behind me, this was like the logo of the villa and it was all over the villa. So I actually took like a high def picture of that and I used it throughout the video in different places and used it for different textures. But okay, this is cool. This is a sunrise just from the beach that I filmed with my iPhone. And I just added in this eye. So I got this asset that is an eyeball, which I'll show you. It's just this. And I just masked it out and added it in here. And then if I take off all these effects, you'll see this cloud in front of it is a fake cloud. So yeah, there's this fake cloud just to kind of tie everything together better, make it more believable, I feel like. And then yeah, I just kind of blended it and adjusted the colors to match and put on these effects, my tie-on effects. So this is just a color adjustment and a film adjustment. So that's that shot. Very pretty though. Okay, this is one of the bangers of the video. If the night sky wasn't enough, well, how about now? Whale, dude. Look at this sky whale, dude. It's so freaking dope. So let's break it down. I'm gonna get into Element 3D here. So here's where I started. This is just a rough draft version, right? So here's my whale swimming, and there's basically a plane above him, and I get this water ripple effect, and I just put that effect on the plane that's above him, this plane, right? So you'll see if I change this now, it's just his reflection, but it has water ripples, right? Because the ripples are inputted into the plane. So it makes it look like he's underwater. But then now freaking add a starry background and some smoke, and it's like a sky underwater thing. And I think the thing that also really sells this that's cool is if you look back at this lighting situation is built in to Element. So it's this underwater lighting preset, but like if you look, it could be this lighting, sunset lighting, right? They're all different, but this underwater one, I was like, ooh, that's sick because it's like this light coming from underneath him. So that was pretty sick. And let's go ahead. I'm going to try to get into Element 3D. Okay, so here's our scene. Boom. This is what Element looks like. This is what I'm using for all the 3D stuff. So here's my whale. And I used the texture they gave me, but I changed it a little bit. But you can see he's got his bumps and everything on him. And that's him. And then there's this plane here. But I use this setting called matte shadow and matte reflections. So all you can see, or I didn't even use matte shadow. All you can see are the reflections. So here's what it looks like. So like I said, there's the waters that I inputted onto the plane. So the water's like rippling around on the plane. But then if you check this matte reflection, you don't see the plane, you only see the reflections that are happening in the water. So when you go back here, this is why it looks like this, where you just see that, right? You just see the rippling of the water. And then Okay, so basically from then my process is I render out just this with a transparent background. So I render out the layers. So I render out this layer, very high quality, of just the whale and his reflection in the thing. Then I render out this background. So here's this starry background, right? Just moving with the camera. Very simple. So that's the background. Here's the whale on top of it. That's the two things together. And then I use this another red giant effect called super comp. So if I open this, it just lets me blend the thing. So this front whale layer has a color correction that matches it with the background better. It has the edges blurred a little bit, and it has this light wrap. So the light from the background kind of will come around the whale a little bit. And they're all very subtle, but they just really tie it together and make it look more real. So here's the whale comped into the background. And then I add in the smoke, right? Which is kind of just billowing across the screen to make it look like the clouds or something. And then we got lens effects. We got a little glow, right? So we got this little glow happening, additional glow, and then the film effects. And then when it's all said and done, this is our final shot. Right? The nice little camera move, and I put in the whale sound too. I just feel like it made it like epic. And then yeah, it just comes in here with the crop lines, and that's just a banger, dude. That looks fire. That's one of my favorite shots of the whole thing is the whale. Okay, next, real simple shot. I didn't even comp this one. This is just me sitting at the beach. And then these are fake birds though. I just comped in these birds. You can see they're just fake. So it just looks like this. Little birds flying around, and I just added it on, and you'd never know probably that those are fake birds, but I use those birds a couple times, so you'll see them again. Okay, next shot. This is AI extension. So if you look at, this is our original shot here. So you got the villas in the shot, which I don't want it to be, but which is why I just use this extension. So I just basically take this frame, put it on Photoshop, basically press remove on this, just outline it and press remove, and then put it back, export that frame and put it back in. I'll dive into this a lot more in a future shot. And then just a little bit of effects over top of that. We got the shine effect, right? So it just creates some light rays that come across. Big difference, right? So if it's like, here's where I started. Okay, then we add in this, and then we add in the light rays, and then we add in a lens flare. You can see the lens flare coming across, and then what is this? Just a lighting adjustment. So and then that's our finished shot now. Pretty simple though, but I'll come back to that because I do a couple more that are way more epic later. Okay, here we go. This is cool. This is same thing as the whale. I just downloaded this flapping bird. But dude, and I didn't mention this on the whale, but I had to, like this bird doesn't move. It just flaps in space. So I had to literally animate its motion to fly like that. And keyframe it. And just whoop. And keyframe the depth of field and everything. So I just kind of would make it tilt. I would animate the rotation and then have it kind of go like whoop, and just kind of animate this motion. And you can see here, it's all these keyframes down here of me animating the motion of this. But if we do our little breakdown here real quick, we got this background, which I filmed. This is just me filming the ocean, just a little background plate of the ocean. We got our bird. So here's our bird and our butterfly animation. And I put in little fluttering sounds. Boop. Okay, so there's that guy. And then, so I export that and I get this file, right? So and you can see there's like a shadow of the butterfly here too. Then I add this effects. A little camera shake, a little light camera shake that just moves the camera around a little bit, makes it look handheld. Color, again, we got chromatic aberration lens effects, which are barely visible. Little glow, and then film, look, and then yeah, that's our finished shot right there. So that's how I did that one. Okay, so a lot of the mornings I would just set up my camera and open the windows. And so I ended up with a bunch of shots of it, which I just kind of cut together for this part. Nothing crazy, literally just cutting it together. But these mornings were amazing. Like these moments here that you're seeing are like what inspired the whole shit. Was me, you see me sitting here and watching the birds and watching the sunrise every day, and it was just such a vibe. And so that's kind of what this sequence is about, but there's really no effects. It's pretty simple. So okay, next one, we got underwater shot that my brother filmed of me. We went out one of the last days and he filmed me underwater, so it's just me underwater, and I masked out like this bar. So if you see this bar, I like left it in, so when I go swimming it's still in there. Yeah, see, so it stays. But then we go to the turtle, which is fire. Okay, so check this out. One cool thing about Element 3D is that you can like put in an object. So I put in my butterfly object, and then you can like replicate it in a pattern, right? So it's like if you look at this particle replicator over here, I have 75 of these butterflies happening, and you'll see I can adjust the scale of the shape, right? So now they're just flying all around, right? And they, you know, so you can, and that's based on just one object. So you can do a lot of cool tricks with that. And I do that with the Antz later. And then with this turtle, really cool thing where I make the texture, which I got from AI, a Italian tile thing. Like I'll show you here. So this is the texture that's on him, which I got from Midjourney. And you can generate the textures so that they're in endless tiles. So if you stack it next to each other, there's no seam, right? So like no matter how many times you replicate the tile, it's seamless. It's like a seamless pattern. So I'll show you like this. So if I throw this file in here, watch what happens. Yeah, see, it's an endless pattern, right? So that if you do that, you can use it as textures for 3D objects without seams. So it works really good, honestly, and I do that constantly. It's like one thing I just am doing all the time. Let's go here and let's look at our turtle. And this is the same thing I got from Sketchfab. It's just a turtle swimming animation, which I had to, and same thing I did with the plane, right? But if you look at him, he's still got his like texture of his scales and his skin, but then the pattern on him is this cool thing, which I got from that AI reference. If we look back here, where is it? That. Yeah, so that's where I got the idea. Thank you, Midjourney. And then again, he's just like, when I import him, he's just swimming in place. So I had to like literally animate him to move like myself. And then I just, for the last scene where he peeks out into the sky, when he goes through the water right here, watch, he goes through the water, it just changes camera angles and then has the sunrise background and he's peeking up. And it's like, wake up. Yeah. And then I actually initially had these glowing, right? But I decided against it because I feel like it distracted too much from the turtle. So I just did that. So that's that shot. Moving on. Oh, about the turtles though, the thing is, this is an example of why do I put a turtle in? It's because you would see sea turtles at the reef sometimes. Like there was a reef right out front of the villa and you would see the turtles and it was so magical. They're so vibey and it's so cool to swim around with them and they're just beautiful and so cool. And so it's one of those things that just captured me. So like a lot of these things that I'm putting in the video are like that, where it was like something that was very striking to me that I could represent in a cool CG artistic way. Okay, this is one of my favorite things. This is actually the art for the song. This is so cool. And I had to learn a new plugin for this called GeoTracker. So let's just break this thing down from the beginning here. So here's our shot, S-Log footage. So this is what it looks like out of the iPhone camera. And so what I'm doing is I'm using this plugin called GeoTracker. So basically what you do is you like line this up with your face so that it looks like it's on your head. It's kind of hard to do, but you can You gotta really finagle it. But anyways, you get this thing so it's on your face, and then it tracks your face. So you track it, how your face moves. Oh yeah, see, there you go. It's tracking my face. And then that spits out information that you can then apply to an object. So once this tracked my face, I basically get these eye covers. So here's our colored shot. I get these eye covers, and I take the tracking information, I apply it to the eye covers, so that the eye covers now move in the 3D space according to that tracking information. So that's a simplified way of saying it. And it was hard for me to figure out, but I just followed a YouTube tutorial. So a lot of this shit, I couldn't go back and do it again unless I watched a YouTube tutorial again. So I type in how to track a face, and I just step by step follow the tutorial and make the shot that I want. And I love it too. Right on the beat, this butterfly flies through. Dude, are you kidding me? Come on, zoom. And then as far as the eye covers, I got all these effects on here like I showed you before. I got glows and blurs and everything that just give it a little, you can see it kind of flickering and glowing, and it just kind of makes it, oh, it's so freaking cool. And then, okay, this is one of the main references I use from the AI. This is probably the strongest reference, which is this fox. And I loved the softness of it and the way that his body just like disappears in the fog right here, and there's this softness around it. It's so cool. So I was like, okay, how can I replicate this? So what I did is I created this just literally black blobs that are very soft edges, right? And so I created these, and they move around. So they're kind of animating and moving around throughout the shot. And then I basically I made an effect that is camera blur. And I said, only blur where these balls are, right? So it basically glows and creates a blur effect where those black blobs are. And then if I turn on all the rest of these effects here, I'm gonna turn this to low quality so we can get through it. So here's the first effect, which is just a camera shake, I believe. So the camera's moving around a little bit, just adds like a little extra, right? Just makes it seem handheld, because I just put this on my tripod and filmed this while I was waiting for my laundry. But then we got just a color, so I'm just brightening it up. And then we got our lens blur, and then we got our optical glow. So, and you could see the blurs starting to happen here. And then once I add lens effects, I add another glow apparently. Wow, I'm going crazy. And then I think one more color. Oh no, and then the film. So now here's our shot, and this is it rendered out. And so yeah, it creates this like really cool, blurry, trippy, like see right here is exactly like that fox thing. You can't see where my body ends, right? It's just like a blur. And my face, if you look here, it's like this part of my face is in focus, this is getting blurred, there's some focus and there's some detail, but I just love the way it turned out. It's so cool. And then if you go back to this main cut here and you have the crop lines, it's just a freaking cool vibe. I love it. I write about this in my blog post about the song, which I'll link in the description, but it's like that. It represents me being able to see, being in the moment, right? It's like this thing, like seeing what it's like in the present. And it's with the eye covers show up first on the Buddha, because that's like the whole thing in Buddhism or the Buddha. It's like be present and non-attachment and all this, which is, I think, the antidote to the issue I'm having of being able to be present and enjoy things, always wanting more, right? So it's like this idea of like these eye covers show up on the Buddha first, and then I'm trying to do it myself. That's kind of the idea. Okay, this got fucked up. I don't know what's happening here, but if we look at this is another Keyshot animation where I just had this blue bamboo, which again is from my AI references right here, this. So there's more of this later, which I'll show you, but and then I just put the video of the Buddha behind the bamboo, and it's spinning around, and that's really all that's going on there. And that's from Keyshot. That's a Keyshot animation, because Keyshot is really cool with the way it does glass and liquid and plastic and things like that, and the way the light gets calculated. So that's why I use that for some of those shots. But yeah, and then I do that like same effect with the displacement. My program's literally glitching. I don't know why it's doing this like this. This is crazy. It's actually just having an aneurysm right now, so can't really show you more of that. Okay, this is a fun one. In the bathrooms there, let me see if I can find it. We'll go mirror. Here we go. Okay, here's our shot. There was no like vanity lights, and there isn't here either. It's the weirdest thing. So it's like if you're trying to shave or do something in the mirror, there's no like the light's like above on the ceiling, so it's like you can't see your face. So he would literally take the mirror off the wall and put it in this tree to frickin' shave and stuff. So this, and I was like, oh, it looks so cool. I was like, oh, I should do a shot of that because it just looks cool sitting in the tree. So that's the shot. I just filmed it at the sunrise of the thing sitting there. And then I put masked in a galaxy, right? So you got this galaxy masked in there, and then just a gang of effects on the top. So we got like a glow, we got lens flare, we got lens effects, we got color, we got film. Again, same process that I'm always doing, but here's how the finished shot looks. Boom. Next. Okay, here's one of the extensions of me on the bed, right? So if you want to see the original shot, like this is what we're looking like. Yeah, so here's the original shot. So that's literally what it was. That's the room. And then I basically go on Photoshop and just expand this whole thing out and make a big giant room, right? So here it is. And then, so it's really just blue color. It's nothing crazy, but so that's all it is. And then what I do is I go to here and I just, behind the room, I put a sunset. So I just have this sunset back here, and then I put the room over it and I cut a hole with a mask. And that's all that is. Very simple. And then it goes to this scene, which is a full 3D scene of flower animations. I'll show you the reference for this scene right here, right? So this is kind of just was in my head from what I was looking at, and then it kind of just got translated to this, where you have this thing bloom. And then we have our bamboo, which also I just showed you, this bamboo. And then I just put that scene behind the bamboo. But it just creates this really kind of cool, I don't know. We can't watch it, unfortunately, but so beautiful. And then, okay, I love this. This is fun. This is a shot of me swimming. This one is, that I just cut a hole in. Yeah, it's just a shot of me in the water. Here we go. Anyways, yeah, you can see it's just me floating in the water. Nothing crazy. What I did is I took this shot, which, dude, this is literally footage of after I got out of the shower of me just filming the light. And there was just a bunch of like particles in the air and steam. And yeah, I just literally filmed it with my iPhone like this. This is what the raw footage looks like. And it's just the light in the bathroom. And then, it's so funny. It's so cool how things can be so sick if you just have a good vision, right? So I'm like, it's nothing really special. And so yeah, I just took that shot and then I just cut out a circle of me swimming, put it in there. And then what you get is this really interesting visual, right? Like, look at that. You'd never guess that's what it was. It looks like, I don't know what it looks like, but it's just very interesting. Next one, me in the room with the ant. This is an Element 3D composition like normal. And I just downloaded these ants. I put my textures on them like I was showing you that I like those ones from Midjourney. And I just have him dancing around. And I have his little shadow going on here. Same exact techniques I'm using with the whale, where it's just like a matte reflection. And I just move the camera around to try to get him in the right angle and put him in there. And then this is a fake lens flare too. But okay, I'll show you the next ant shot because I want to talk about the ants too. Here we got ants flying around. I skipped the whale tail shot at the beginning. I'll go back. Okay, so this background is, so I put that picture of the fox in Midjourney and got more pictures like it. So this was a sunrise picture based on that picture of the fox that I kept showing that I love, this guy. Put that in, put sunrise, and then it gives me this background. And it actually had the fox in it, but I just photoshopped it out. And I used the shit out of this. So this sun, you'll see if I go back here, this is what this background is the sun just really zoomed in, right? So it's just this. And zoomed in, and then I just did that effect I'm talking about where I put one ant in, and then I can replicate the ant into a big sphere of ants, and then they all move around and twist. I animate them to move around and twist. And I just add in some lights and my normal effects, my lens effects, my chromatic aberration, some glow, optical glow effect, and film. And that's it. And here's the thing with the ants. There was freaking, when we get there, dude, there's just trails of ants like everywhere. And going through the everywhere, and through the house and outside, and they do their trails and they go through the bathroom and up the plants. And it was kind of annoying, but it was also amazing because the ants are amazing to watch them carrying things. They'd get these flies. They would all get these big flies and take them. And a lot of times they would move a bunch of food through and then they would just dip and then the trail was gone. And a lot of times we'd have to spray to get them out of there. But it's like this juxtaposition of the ants are amazing and they're fascinating. And I would just lay on the ground and just watch them and like put things in their way and watch them go around and watch their behaviors. And they're so cool, but it's also uncomfortable. That's why, like, if you look at this studio ant shot, it's like kind of off-putting, right? It's like there's this big ant like freaking out behind me and stuff. So, and then this is where I made a lot of the music right here. This is where I made the song. I'm just sitting in here in the sunrise making music every day. Oh, whoops, I gotta switch this. Sorry. Sitting in here making music every day in the morning. And this was what it was like. So that's a little peek into how my workstation was and stuff. Okay, let's go back. I forgot an opening scene that's really cool, which is this whale. Oh yeah, so here's the final shot, I believe, right here. Right, so it's this whale tail going into the water. Wow. So, I love it, it's so cool. So that's the animation, same model as the sky whale. I just put him upside down. So like, it's funny, if you look at this, right, this is like what it is. I have a plane and the whale is sticking through the plane. Yeah, his just tail sticking out. And then I just put the water ripples on the plane, and this is that same sun I just showed you with the ants. Same thing, same background. I just repeated it. I did that a lot. I would just copy a scene and change some stuff to get a new scene. Here's the cool thing is you'll notice this splash, right? And this to me, splash is so good. It almost looks like I did a simulation, but it's literally just, look what this is. It sells it so much. It's just freaking this, dude. It's literally a motion array stock splash asset. It's all it is. And I put a mirror effect on it, so it has a mirrored effect. And it's just literally a video of a splash. And I just put it in, right? It's like just literally a video. Splash, little splash assets. It's so funny. So what I did though is you'll notice at the beginning of the splash, it's dark because I had to do this on purpose where the sun isn't hitting it because the tail's in the way, right? So then as the tail moves, watch, I did a mask that just wipes the brightness onto it, right? So watch, as it goes, you'll see the sun start to show through and now it's really bright. And so it looks like the sun shows through, but I'm just adjusting the brightness on the asset, right? So it's not really, it's just a freaking trick, dude. It's so crazy that it worked, but it looks really real. And I love it. It's so cool. And I made the whale's skin like shiny and nice and like it just looks so fun. I don't know. I like it. Anyways, okay, going back. We got still a lot to cover. I wonder if anyone's going to watch this whole shit. This is crazy. This is a cool one. This is a big sunset. So what I did here is I did a 3D layer right here. And I basically told After Effects to only let the butterfly show up where there's the bright parts, and then these dark parts should be in front of the butterfly. So that's why it looks like the butterfly's in the clouds, right? But really, it's not. It was in front of the clouds, and this is just a sunrise I filmed, which is gorgeous, by the way. But I just had to finagle it. So if you look at these, I don't even know how I did this. I want to show you kind of how I did the masking and stuff, but I literally don't know. Sorry. I used Keyshot or a Keylight, like a green screen thing, and I just did it based on the color. And it took some finagling, but we got it. Here's another AI expansion frame. So if we look at here, this is our stem footage. So this is the shot from my camera, right? So just like this. This is all it is. It's pretty cool, but I'm like, no. We'll put the mask back on, and then we look at our expansion frame from Photoshop, and now we're talking, baby. It's so much sicker, right? This big epic shot now. Trap code shine again, the shine effect, light flare. So it's like this light flare of the sun, and then a little color effect, and there we go. And these are some of my favorite shots. Like, I just think they're epic and such a vibe. And man, what a cool sunrise it was that day. There were so many cool sunrises throughout the time. I just was loving the clouds. Okay, this is fun. This is from Keyshot. This is a Easter egg because my next song that comes out after this, I'll show you the art here. Boop, 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 boop. Here's the art for my next song called Soldier. And it's this scene, right? It's this tree and this boat with the butterfly and the clouds. So I basically used this same setup and I made this new one with the sunrise. And this is from Keyshot. And so it's like a Easter egg to my next video and my next song. So that's pretty fun. And that song is probably one of my favorite. It's probably my favorite song I've ever made is that song. This is one of my favorite shots from the thing. Skygate. So I had this idea to film the ocean from one position, which is this, during the day. And then I did the same thing again at sunrise. So this is the sunrise shot in S-Log. I'll show you what I got going on here. So here's our background. Here's our inside the Skygate shot. So then I just mask it, right? And then I made this gate on Element 3D, which, why is it up there? Oh, here we go, yeah. So that's just because the camera's turned off. So yeah, here's our gate. And then same thing, I just do a plane underneath it with the water reflection. And then I just kind of try to dial it in to make it look real. And like, here's what it is by itself. So just, this is what it looks like. And then I just put that over top of the background shot right here. So that's what it is. And then I cut out the middle and I put in this. There we go. And then this is weird down here, but it gets cropped. I know. So that's why it doesn't matter. Because if you go back here, you'll see the bottom gets cropped. So it's fine. And then again, fake birds flying in. The birds fly in. And then I masked it so like they fly into the gate. Like they fly. And then they'll disappear. Watch, see, he comes out of nowhere right there. And then they fly away in there. So that's really cool. And then this is the part where Gandalf is like saying, in the song, Gandalf is like, the gray rain curtain of this world pulls back. And I took this Gandalf commentary. It's funny because Spence and I, while we were here, we were watching all the Lord of the Rings like extended editions. So I heard that swift sunrise thing that Gandalf says when he's talking about what happens after you die. And I was like, that's perfect. I got to put that in. That's a banger. And yeah, same. And then just normal lens effects like normal. So, but this is just a thing. I just get an idea like this and I put it in my notes and then I think, okay, I'll go do that. Moving on. Yeah. Underwater shot. And this is cool. The thing that was hard about this is, okay, I got to add in this butterfly, right? But the thing is the butterfly gets added over top and there's all this shit in the water flying around, right? So it doesn't look right because the shit isn't flying over top of the butterfly because the butterfly's over top of the shit. So I had to basically tell After Effects, okay, every time there's a little piece of shit, cut out the butterfly so it looks like it's in front. But if I turn off this matte, you'll see that the butterfly is in front. So yeah, so this is how it looked, right? And so you can see all the shit goes behind the butterfly. Like, watch. All the white stuff. So it doesn't look right. It doesn't look like the butterfly's far away. It looks like the butterfly's over top. Now, if I put this on, and the white stuff goes over the top of the butterfly, the little particles, and now he's slowly fading away into the depths. So it just gives it scale. And that was kind of hard for me to figure that out, honestly, how to do that. But worth it. Very cool. Next one. Don't let me down. So we got a simple shine transition into and a motion array asset. It's just literally a freaking shiny thing. I don't know. It's just a video of a shiny thing I downloaded and I put it over the top. Light leak. And then yeah, this is no CG. This is just a cool sunrise that I filmed, one of the cooler ones that I saw in my opinion. And then this is a really fun shot. I put all the animals together. All together now is what I named this layer. Yeah, I got the butterflies and the ants and the birds and everything swimming across. And the reflections in the water kind of helps sell it, I think. But that's pretty fun. And then I went to this shot. I'm getting burnt, I'm not going to lie. Went to this shot, cut myself out, and then moved me back into this shot. Right? So it's like this really trippy thing where I like appear early. Like watch. My computer is just so yeah, I appear early right here, and then the background just switches up. Watch. Boom. So that's just a cool transition, right? Boom. I like it. Good job. Thank you. And then we got ants in space. So I used the same space background from the whale and the turtle, and I put a bunch of ants in there. Very simple. And here's the thing, I will admit. This one has star glow effect on the stars. So I wish I did this shot like near the end. I wish I would have done this with the whales, because like, look at how cool this is. Like, this is the star glow effect. So here's normal, and then the star glow effect adds like all these glow to the stars that just make it look cool. And I was like, damn it, I forgot to, or I didn't think of doing that at the beginning of the video, but I wasn't going to go back and like re-render everything. So next shot, this is really fun. This is Keyshot. So we're back to the stained glass. And initially I was thinking it was going to be like a macro shot of the stained glass, right? It's just this shot that pans up the stained glass like this. Pretty simple, but it's kind of a cool close-up of the stained glass. But then I thought, okay, what if I put these butterflies over it again? And then it made it look like it's aerial. It made it look like an aerial shot from the sky almost. And I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. It looks like a helicopter shot, like a drone shot. And then same effects as always, chromatic aberration lens effects, shine, strap code shine, color, and a little bit of film. Easy. And now next one. We're getting near to the end. Here's another eye cover, and I just rinse and repeat the same thing, just a different shot of it close up. And I used a different lens flare that has like cool artifacts. Makes all these like squares and cool shiny things. And I changed the colors, so like the colors change of the glow as it goes through. For a little extra sauce, this is a Keyshot composition. This is like the gates you find in Bali at like the temples and stuff, and I just put it in the clouds. And these clouds I've been using a ton. It's like, it's a new thing I'm learning. It's called like VBR or something. It's like a volume thing. So it's not like in geometry. It's like, where is there fog, basically? And it's like in a box. So there's like a box full of fog, and you can basically tell the box where to put the fog, and then you get a cloud shape. But it looks really cool and realistic and fun. So I've been using it a ton. And yeah, that's that. This is the raft that I would sit on and watch the sunrise. And this is the most janky shot of the video, honestly. If you watch it, it's like, you can see, if you look here at the reflections and stuff, it's pretty jank. Like, watch this. If you pay attention here, it's like, oh, it's like sliding around, like it just looks janky. So, but I don't feel like people will probably notice that. It is what it is. Ooh, this is the octopus. This is cool. Took Spence's footage of the octopus, scaled it up. Spence filmed this with his GoPro. This is a GoPro shot. And I just I tracked the camera and I put in these little butterflies floating around the dude. And it's so crazy the way he changes, bro. Like, look at this. So look at all the spikies and stuff on him, right? He's like got all these spikies and colors. And then he like changes to smooth. Now look at him. Wow, like look at the difference of that. Spiky guy looks like coral. Smooth guy, right? He's like gave it up. He's like, okay, you saw me, whatever. Man, so amazing. Just such cool wildlife and stuff. So I threw that in there at the end there. Another big ultra wide. It says Dan Cloud's Extender Mega. Big old cloud shot. Same technique I showed you before. And then I ended off with another one of these shots of me in the water. Holy crap. Okay, the last thing I want to show you though. There was this part of the song that I cut out, and it was based on this Lionel Richie song, and it was just, the song was too long and it was really weird. It was like this weird like tribal drum thing that I did, and I cut it out, but I made this animation of these ants for it, and I just at least want to show it because it's funny, but it didn't make it in the video. Yeah, so that's pretty funny. So that didn't make it in. I didn't make the cut. That's a deleted scene for you. I'm burnt. That was so much. Oh my God. If someone watched that whole thing, I'm I'm gonna be surprised. And then yeah, like I said, I would leave in some audio from the actual footage of the clip so you can hear the ocean. If you watch the music video, you can hear the ocean, and I put in the whale sounds, and I left in sound effects to kind of make it immersive. And that was my whole process. So what's up? It's Edit Dan here. I'm at the end of the video. So one thing I didn't show you is that once I finally got the song finished, I put the song on, I exported the video in 1080p, and then I upscaled it using TensorPix to 4K. And then when I put it back in the project, it looked like the sharpness or like the look of it was just a little weird. So I put on a little bit of noise, I put on a little bit of glow, and I put on a teeny bit of blur, and just over the entire video, and then re-exported it in 4K so that I didn't have to render the whole video in 4K. So there you go, saved me a million years. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching that. I'd be happy to answer any questions. If you're a creator or someone who makes videos and you wonder, I know I glossed over so much of it. If you're like, how do you do that in Element 3D, or what's this or what's that? Hit me up. There will be a link in the description. You can literally book a free video call with me and ask me questions, and I can show you stuff, walk you through whatever if you want to chat. Since I'm such a loner and I'm traveling alone, I want to connect with people. So if you want to hit me up and have a chat, hit the link. There will be a link to my vlog, the Bali vlog that I did while I was there. I did a whole vlog, so you can watch that. You can watch the music video. You can book a call with me. And then the other things, I just want to let you know that I do, like I have this YouTube where I do vlogs and all kinds of different videos on here. But since I'm retired from social media, if you want to keep up to date with me and see what I'm doing, I do blog posts and weekly updates on Substack. And if you click the link in the description for the blog, you just put in your email, it's free, and then you get my updates in your inbox. And that's how I connect and my audience stays up to date with me and my friends and family and stuff. So if you want to keep up to date with me and see what I'm doing and everything, do that, and it's free. And then what else? I have my music. Check out the song. It's on Spotify and everywhere rivers flow. Add that to your playlist, send it to your friends, save it, stream it, go, go, go. And I got tons of other cool songs coming out, so be looking forward to that. Like and subscribe, obviously. And then I got merch. I don't know if I'm gonna do a piece of merch with this song, but I got butterfly necklaces, earrings, hats, hoodies, all kinds of different merch, phone cases, everything. So it's all on DannySway.com, my shop. So those are the things I do. Thanks for watching. I hope someone got something out of that, or it was interesting. Yeah, and comment any questions or let me know what you think. And yeah, that took me a long freaking time. That was hard to make, so. I think I already said thanks for watching. I'm burnt. That roasted me. Thanks for watching again. Peace.